Good evening. How y'all doing?
Hello.
Good evening. Good evening. How you doing?
Doing all right? Work.
See, you went brought an extra pair of eyes, huh?
Yeah, man. And when you're working in the plant and stuff, you gotta have shields on the side. So I had to go get them.
Okay.
Actually, this Ronaldo who I was telling you about, wanted to join the group.
Hey, what's
Uh,
going on, man?
How you doing, Ronaldo?
Oh, Bluetooth, coach. Hey,
Yeah,
how you?
I'm doing good, man. I can hardly hear y'all.
Yeah, he was telling me about the group y'all had, bro, and I thought that was positive.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and I told him, I said, shit, man, I wouldn't mind being a part of the group.
Yeah, I would love for you to be a part of it, man. I think that as many young black positive men on the calls each week, I think is a good thing for these kids to see.
Definitely. Definitely.
Where you live at, man?
I'm in the plan. I'm in the plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know y'all. Like me and your brother, we grew up together and everything.
Okay.
But shit, man, I gotta go to work right now, but and I'm just waking up, so my brain ain't functioning like I wanted to. But I'll get back with you though.
Yeah, I
Okay.
would appreciate that, man. I'm looking at your face. You do look a little familiar. I've seen you
Yeah.
somewhere before. I'm not
I'm
exactly sure, but
I'm Joanne. I'm Denise brother. Denise who drive the buses.
oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I'm Frank Williams' son who he drive trucks.
Yeah, I don't know Frank William, but Denise, I went to school with
Yeah,
Denise, so
that's my sister. That's my sister.
oh, that's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
we got the same daddy.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But
Well, I
let me
look
go.
forward to meeting you, man. I look forward to meeting you. Maybe sometime soon, man, we could schedule a time to meet and we can
Yeah,
get to know one another.
yeah, most definitely, man.
Let's do it.
All right, all right. That's a bet.
Thank you, man.
Have a good weekend. Thanks for joining.
All right. You too.
All right. Anybody else want to talk about their week and how they doing? We got 1 minute to spare now. You know, we normally allow 5 minutes grace period, but 5 minutes is almost up. Do anybody else want to share how their week was? Everybody doing good?
Yep. One more week until the end of school. I'm on a
Well,
countdown more than the kids are.
it sounds like you done woke Mr. Tundra up with that one.
I thought I was still on mute, but she's speaking truth.
So, Mr.
Yeah.
Turner, you looking forward to school being done as well?
I'm in a different stage of life than you and Anitra in
But
that
she sympathized when I said that.
absolutely and miss it. I have a little bit of nostalgia. My youngest son is 16 and is pretty much on autopilot, so I don't have to aggressively parent the way y'all have to aggressively parent. Um, so it's a different season. So him being in school is not that much different from him being out of school.
Hmm.
Um, but you know, it is it's a it's all a journey. I'm now Byron. Look, he graduates next year, so that's really where my thoughts are. Like, what is my life with no children in the house at all? Not ready
Hmm.
for it. So
Yeah.
y'all enjoy. You're gonna miss it when it's done.
Mm.
Yeah, I can believe that. I can believe that. Yeah, I miss my children now when they're not around. You know, they can drive us up the wall sometimes, but even though they drive us up the wall when they're not here, I do miss them.
Yep, absolutely. I have a question, Byron, if you'll indulge me in the last 30 seconds.
Okay.
Someone asked me today, what do I do for fun? And I could not think of an answer. So I've been asking other people, what do y'all do for fun?
Mm,
Well, well, I think our life is pretty routine. But I like to go hit golf balls. I would go to the range. What's that range called in Gonzales? I normally go there
Top
from
golf.
time to time. Top golf. Yeah, I go to Top Golf. Um, Anitra and I, we would go out to eat. That's a common thing, obviously, among couples. We go out to eat, but we don't do anything extravagant. I wouldn't. I would say, Anitra, what would you say? I think we pretty routine, right? We locked in on the family thing, so we don't really do too much.
We don't really have a lot of date night, Mr. Tundra. So we do a lot of things as a family.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how that's a harder question to answer than you think it would be?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I find that life is pretty routine. I mean, I know for me, it's pretty routine, especially during the school year. We can usually branch out a little bit when school is out, do a little bit more. But um, one thing I can share though is that we are part of Jack and Jill, and Jack and Jill would have events, and we would go to those. So typically, when we do something, it might be a gathering, some sort of function
Right.
where there's other people involved. So now I enjoy that. I enjoy going out with other couples and other like-minded people to listen to some good music and be in each other's company. So I like things like that. Anitra like things like that, and but
Hmm.
other than that,
We don't really,
ain't over here.
really it.
We have to make some adjustments in our lives so that we have a real answer to that question. When somebody says, what do I do for fun? You can say, this is what I
That's
do
what
for
I
fun.
do for fun.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Sounds like Mr. Tundra thinking about jumping out of planes or something like that.
Oh no, baby.
Parachute or
Look,
something.
I'm very proudly middle aged, and I went through all the phases of life as one should. So ain't no regrets or needs for adrenaline in this household. However, I would like to be able to answer that question. It was crazy. I'm like, I don't really know what I do for fun. I gotta figure that out. So next week, I'll be able to have an answer.
Well,
I'm gonna
that's
spend.
that's because you are routine as well, Mr. Tundra. You're routine as well. And I, I mean, I don't think that I have a boring life. I think my life is pretty exciting. I mean, we don't do any off the wall things, but I enjoy my life. I enjoy my life.
That's still not a real answer to the question, Byron.
That's not a real answer. It's not a real, but but the reason I say that is because some people would think that because you don't have an extravagant lifestyle that you're not happy with your life. But that's not the case with me. We don't do a whole lot of out the box things, but I'm at peace. I'm at peace. Um, I do need to do more, though. I can say that. I can say
Mhm.
that. I do think I need to enjoy myself more because we
Mhm.
don't. Anitra and I, we don't. But I think we can use a little bit more of that. I think we can.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was a good question. The answer to the question of the person who asked me that has me thinking about it, he collects Saints player signatures. So he will go out there to that place they have on airline and
Hmm.
and when they're doing their training or whatever they do and collects signatures. And so they actually noticed that he's always out there and let him come on the field one time. So
Mm.
that was a good answer to that question.
Hmm.
Byron, you ain't got no good answer. Anitra, you need to work on your answer as well.
Yes,
Do the
ma'am.
kids have an answer to that question? What do they do for fun? It should be easier for the kids to come up with
I
something.
know. So, kids,
I like to play with my slime. That's fun and like do fun things with my friends. My
Oh,
friend Scott.
good. Good.
'em. Play basketball, play my game with my friends. And, yeah. 'Em. 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 'Em
Like just do fun stuff with my friend.
Yeah, those are good answers. So the adults got to work on good answers.
Hmm.
We do.
Mario, Marian, Coach Alex, what do y'all do for fun?
I just like to relax, have a peace of mind.
Yeah.
What
But
do you do for fun, Mario?
Not have
Take a
anywhere to
nap.
go. Not have
I,
anywhere to go. Nobody
I
looking
like
for
to,
you.
yes, I like to relax and have a peace of mind. But
My,
my family, so sometimes if I miss the call, my family is one of those down south families. Somebody always pulling the grill out or a boiling pot and put the music on. So we always like playing spades, and I like that. That's a good time to me. But when we have time, fishing.
Fishing's
But
a
I,
good
I'm
one.
a I'm a very I like just peace. I like to relax.
Me and
Hmm.
Mario related.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I like to play basketball, work out, watch something on YouTube or podcast, or find something on YouTube, or go to the movies or something like that.
Mm. Go to the movies. That's a good one.
Hmm.
now we just did that. We just did that. We did that as a family. Actually, we went and saw Michael. Is called. Is that the name of the movie? It's called Michael.
How was
Hmm.
it?
Yeah. We went. It
Oh
was really good.
Very
man, it
good.
was 5 stars. Five,
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
stars. You got to go
it
see it,
was.
Miss Tundra.
Okay.
Go see
Now
him.
you see, you just called me boring, and I gave you something to do.
I didn't say boring.
Ah.
I didn't say boring. You're definitely not
Well,
boring.
you use some other words, but that's kind of what I inferred from
No,
that.
that's how you, right. That's how you interpreted her question.
Right. No, no, no. Neither of you are boring, that's for sure. I don't think anybody on this call is boring, especially somebody with a name Easy Money as
Ah.
his Zoom ID. They ain't no boring people in this bunch. Uh even though Mario's hobby is taking a nap or boiling crawfish with his family, one or the other. No, boring is not it. I think it's more self-care oriented.
That's right.
Hmm.
That is so true.
Yeah, you definitely have to take care of you so that you can be available to everybody that you love.
So today we're gonna have a real good call as always. Um, I want to start off the call today just a little bit different um, because I want to encourage our youth on today to be a part of, um, I guess you can say, this leadership board on social media. So right now, what we're doing is everyone who has been on honor roll, everyone who has had some sort of accomplishment throughout the school year, we're shining a light on that. And the reason we're doing that is because we want to encourage our youth to continue to get better. And we also want our youth to know that we see you. We see your accomplishments. We want to applaud your accomplishments. And we don't want to take it lightly. We don't want to take your accomplishments lightly because we want to encourage you and push you and motivate you every day. That's what we want to do. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna share my screen, and excuse me, I'm just going to show you the highlights that we currently have. But I do want to encourage the parents that are on the call to continue sending us, any highlights from your kids that we can post and share as well for others because it's inspiring. It kind of let these kids know that everybody is not out here doing negative things. There are a lot of positive people out here that are doing great things. And that can be a motivator for these kids. So I do want to motivate, I do want to inspire these kids to continue doing what they're doing because we are proud of them. And some of them are on the call right now, which is good because I want you guys to know that we see you and we appreciate you. Okay, so let me share my screen and I'll show you what we have so far. Okay, give me 1 second. All right. Can you guys see my screen? All right. This is what we have so far. For those of you who don't know, this is Mario, better known as MJ, Mario Porter. And this is what we have for Mario. Impact 365 proudly recognizes Mario Porter for his outstanding academic achievement. Mario has maintained a GPA of 3.5 or higher throughout the entire school year. We are proud of his work, dedication, and commitment to excellence. At Impact 365, we strongly believe our youth will be distinguished and the best of the best among their peers. Congratulations, Mario. Man, look, we applaud you and we thank you so much for being on the calls and participating in the conversations and being who you are, because you are a leader, Mario. You're a leader and you're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing. So we applaud you, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Next, we have Dane Collins. Dane is not on the call, but Dane is a part of Impact 365. He's been on the numerous calls. He is an athlete and he's also a scholar student. Okay. So Impact 365 proudly highlights Dane Collins. He was presented with a Scholarship Athlete Award, maintaining honor roll all year while participating in basketball and track. We honor Dane Collins on today. You know, we see you, Dane. We see you, man. We see the work that you're doing. Good job. I tell you what, that picture was outstanding too. Holding 3 of those certificates like that. That was a good look. And last but not least, we have more to come. But this is Cameron. You guys have probably seen Cameron on the call. Impact 365 proudly highlights Cameron Patterson for her outstanding academic achievement. Cameron earned principal list honors for her entire 8th grade year. So Cameron has been on the honor roll all year as well. And we highlight her on today. And we're very proud of everyone who made this list. I want to encourage the kids that have not sent in their highlights. Please send it in. Parents, please send in the highlights, because we want to honor our youth. You know, we want to value them. We want to let them know that we are proud of them. We want to let them know that we see them. I was talking to a guy earlier, and he served time in prison and stuff like that. And one of the things he told me is that he acted the way he acted because he wasn't getting the attention that he needed at home. That was one of his chief complaints that he stated. Okay. And we have to make sure that we give attention and also pay attention to our youth. And one of the ways we do it is by highlighting their success, right? And that's why I want to highlight their success on our social media page for everyone to see, because we don't want them to have a thought in their mind that we don't care, or that we don't recognize, or we don't see their accomplishments. No, we see everything that you're doing, and we applaud you for what you're doing, because you are doing what needs to be done. You know, we live in a world of negativity. We live in a world of distractions. But through all of those distractions, and even though you experience negativity on a daily basis, you are rising above. And that is something to salute and take our hat off to and say that we're proud of you. That is an accomplishment, you know. So I thank y'all for doing what y'all doing. Keep doing it. Don't give up. Don't get discouraged. The word says, don't get weary in well doing. Continue doing well. Continue getting better. And we are here to support you in your efforts. Anybody got any questions or any comments regarding what I just stated? All right. So this is the next thing we're going to do. Let me just give me 1 second here. Let me. All right. So this is the next thing I want to do. There is a trial right now going on for a young guy by the name of Julio Foolio, and it's all over the internet. You know, everybody's talking about it. You know, it's almost like you can't get around it if you're going on social media. And I do want to talk about it because, you know, at Impact 365, it is our mission and our goal to stay current and up to date with what's going on. You know, I think a lot of times, you know, people try to avoid hard conversations, but we can't avoid hard conversations because they are needed so that we can educate our youth. And that's why we're here. And that's the reason why we formed the organization, to make sure that we are educating our youth on real life events. You know, so the things that we talk about week after week is real life. It's not anything that's made up. You know, we have conversations based on issues that people are experiencing every day, especially our youth. They're experiencing it every day. Thankfully, our kids aren't involved. Thankfully, our kids aren't affected directly by it. But we still have to make sure that we address these issues so that we can make sure that our kids have an awareness, right? Because a lot of times when you are aware, then you can avoid the potholes that life brings. And that is our goal. You know, we don't want our kids to make the same mistakes that we made, you know, and you don't have to make the same mistakes that we made. But the way that you will avoid the same mistakes that we made is that we educate you to where you are informed and you can say, you know what, man, I was warned about this. You know, we talked about this on Impact 365, or you can say, man, my dad talked about this, or my mom talked about this. And that would help you to have a productive life. And that is our goal. Okay. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to share my screen again in a moment. And we're going to watch this video. This video is roughly 7 minutes long. I want you guys to watch it, pay attention. And if you can, even take notes. Hunter, Avery, Amarion, Mario, Junior, MJ. If you can take notes, please take notes on some questions that you may want to ask, because we're going to talk about it. And after the video, what I'll do is I'll provide a timeline of the events to kind of help you get a picture of exactly what took place with this event that we're getting ready to watch in this video. Because it's a real disturbing video, but we're going to educate you on what took place and everything that took place so that you can avoid these type of situations. Okay, we as adults going to help you avoid these type of situations. Okay, so here it is. Let me share my screen and then we're gonna watch this video in 1 minute. All right, we're getting ready to get right into the video. Here we go.
There's also obtained a search warrant for Sean Gathwright's house, and there they find a direct connection to this murder.
Mr. Gathwright's house, just a standard suburban house. During the search of this residence, they found ammunition boxes, and then they looked at this safe. Inside the safe, they located some rifles, and they located a brass catcher. But inside of that brass catcher, they located 2 9mm shell casings. And these 2 shell casings were matched to that shell casing that was fired from that fully automatic Glock in the murder, in our case, of Mr. Jones. And then they found a rifle with an attached brass catcher. And they found another rifle, both AR-style rifles, one a .300 Blackout, one a 5.56 NATO chambered rifle.
At the end of July, Davion Murphy gets arrested for this murder, and he does this in the interrogation room.
Mr. Murphy is the biggest, heaviest one of these defendants, just like the shooter who takes the rearward position in this attack. That's Mr. Murphy when he was arrested. You will see tattoos. You see many on his neck and chest. He has a 1200 tattoo on the back of his neck. He has the name of people from 1200 who have been murdered tattooed on his body. And in this video, you will clearly see in the evidence Mr. Davion Murphy taking full credit for his role in this shooting. That is just after his arrest, when he is left alone in an interview room.
Now, why would you? So that's the story of what prosecutors say happened. Now let's get into why they say it happened. And it all goes back to a gang war that they say has been going on for years, full of multiple murders and multiple drill rap diss songs. Try to keep up. So Julio Foolio was a member of the gang 6 Block. His rivals were members of a gang called 1200 and their affiliate gang, ATK. Now, according to prosecutors, 2018 was the first murder between the two gangs, and the murder victim was actually a blood cousin to Davion and Rashad Murphy.
Gerard Adams, also known as Spaz, was part of a gang called 1200. He was murdered in August of 2018. Mr. Adams is a blood cousin of both of the Murphys, Davion and Rashad.
6 months later, a member of 6 Block gets killed.
Adrian Bibby Gaynor was associated to another gang, 6 Block, which was an opposing gang.
There seems to have been a break, but then the murders pick back up.
Jaquan Pickens, also known as Jake Chitt, was murdered in August of 23. The next day, August 17th of 23, Jacoby Lowell Colby Beals, a 1200 gang member, shot multiple times. He would survive. October 6th, specifically of 23, around 11:45, Antonio Tilley, who was an ATA, or was an ATA gang member, was shot to death while he was in an Uber. Just over 6 hours after the murder of Antonio Tilley, on October 7th, 9 months before the murder of Charles Jones, he had left his house at about 6 in the morning and was driving down the street, coming to a stop sign, when attackers with high-powered rifles opened up on his Dodge Charger. He would escape that morning with his life. He would drive to a local hospital and be treated for a gunshot wound to his lower leg.
Context for that last clip: about 6 months before Julio Foolio was killed, he was actually the victim of another shooting.
Attackers with high-powered rifles shot up his car when he pulled up to a stop sign. He was able to escape with his life. He had a leg wound. Incidentally, that bullet stayed in his body and was recovered from his leg during the autopsy in this case.
And in addition to the violence between the two groups, the members also begin making drill rap songs.
Spinabins is one of the performers who is a well-known drill rap gang member in Jacksonville, and Wappa with the Choppa is another. You can see in this photograph in the background, Young and Ace in the yellow. Kenyatta Bullard, AKA Young and Ace. And you can see his ATK chain around his neck. These performers at times during the video pointing up in the air, and you will see the names of people appearing on the screen. Those are casualties from 6 Block. Those are people who were murdered on the opposite side. And this is them pointing, Tiki being an opposing gang member who was murdered.
Then Julio Foolio makes a song.
He says, "Happy birthday, 23." 23 was one of the young men. That was his street name that was murdered. He also says he fell in love with dead ops. Got dead ops on my mind. Dead opposition. Casualties of the opposite side.
And when Foolio dies, the ATK side makes 2 songs.
This song being released within a couple of days of the murder of Charles Jones. It's called Foolio Dead. Foolio dead for real, his ass a ghost. This was another song. This one by Young and Ace, the same guy from the Who I Smoke video. This song came out, I think, 4 or 5 days after the murder of Mr. Jones. This is called Game Over. That is just a still from that video. And that's talking about both Charles Jones and his gang, 6 Block.
So that's their theory, that this murder was well planned, very premeditated, and was driven by the hate and animosity that these men had for Julio Foolio. So based on that theory and the evidence that will be presented, prosecutors are asking the jurors to find these 4 men guilty and ultimately sentence them to death. It's worth noting that because Isaiah is not alleged to be a shooter, he is actually charged as a principal, the same way Alicia Andrews was charged, which means even with him not even being in the parking lot at the time of the murder, prosecutors are saying that he still knowingly and intentionally contributed to this murder as a way to help it be carried out. And so therefore he can be charged and convicted just like the people who actually carried out the murder. Okay.
All right. So what did you guys think about what you just heard?
I've seen that story many a times on YouTube, like a lot. That's how I knew most of the stuff that she said, because it was showing shorts of like when it happened. It showed like the same camera footage, and it was like telling the story what happened. So I kind of already knew about Julio Foolio. And if you search his song up, like he says everything that the people were saying at the courtroom.
And did you see that here?
Yeah, it came up on a YouTube Shorts video when I was scrolling.
Okay. So that's good to know because, we say all the time that parents think their kids don't know, but their kids know. They're aware. And here it is. My son right here is telling me that he already know about this. I didn't know that, but he knows all about it. Okay. So, we as parents, we need to make sure that we are educating our kids. And that's the reason we're talking about it, because like we say all the time, these kids are already exposed. They already know about it. We just have to educate them and coach them through these different emotions that they may feel when they see these type of things, right? So we're going to talk about it on today. So I want to go through the timeline because I created a timeline of events based on this video here. So there were 2 gangs. The first gang was called 6 Block. And the murder trial that's going on right now is because of the guy. He's a rapper. His name is Julio Foolio. That's his stage name. Okay. Well, he belongs to the gang 6 Block. Well, there's an opposing gang called the 1200 gang. And they also have an affiliate gang called the ATK gang. Okay. So I just wanted to set the stage for what I'm getting ready to share with you as far as the timeline. Okay, you got 2 gangs, 6 Block, 1200, and ATK. But ATK and 1200, they're like the same because ATK is just an affiliate gang of the 1200. But here's the timeline that I came up with because I want to talk about this timeline here because it's very important. Okay. In August of 2018, a guy by the name of Gerard Adams was murdered. Okay. Gerard Adams was the cousin to Devon Murphy. Devon Murphy, I believe his name is pronounced. Okay. Now, Devon Murphy is important for me to mention him because he's the one that's up for first-degree murder right now for the murder of Julio Foolio. Okay. But this all started in August of 2018 with this guy, Gerard Adams, losing his life. Okay. Now, Gerard Adams, he is a part of the 1200 gang. Now, just remember the opposing gang to the 1200 gang is the 6 Block gang, which Julio Foolio is a part of. Okay. So this all started with the first murder in August of 2018. Okay. 6 months after Gerard Adams was murdered, a guy by the name of Adrian Bibby Gaynor from 6 Blocks was murdered. And he was murdered in 2019. Okay. Now, why am I pointing it out? I'm pointing it out because the first guy who died was from 1200. Okay. The next guy who died was from 6 Block. So you see the pattern here, it's a tit for tat, right? You just killed Gerard Adams. Okay, well, I'm gonna come and kill Adrian Bibby Gaynor. Okay, so that's kind of what I want you to kind of keep in mind, because that's what's going on right here. It's a tit for tat thing. These are 2 rival gangs. Okay. So 6 months after Gerard Adams was murdered, Adrian Bibby Gaynor was murdered. After that, a guy by the name of Jaquan Pickens was murdered. Now, he was murdered in August of 23. Okay. Now, he was a part of what they call a bully gang. I don't know what gang that is, but it said a bully gang. But apparently, he was an affiliate to either the 6 Block or the 1200 gang. I don't know which one. They didn't say in the video, but he was murdered nonetheless. Okay. But check this out. After Jaquan Pickens was murdered in August of 23, the very next day, a guy by the name of Jacoby Beals got shot multiple times, but he survived. He didn't die. Okay. Now, he was a part of the 1200 gang. Okay. He didn't die. He didn't lose his life, but he was shot multiple times. Okay. After him, a guy by the name of Antonio Tilley from the 1200 gang got murdered in August of 23. Okay, so they both died in 23. Yeah, Jaquan Pickens, he lost his life in 23. A guy by the name of Jacoby Beals, he gets shot but survived in 23. Now you got a guy by the name of Antonio Tilley. He gets shot in 23 as well. Okay, he gets murdered. He actually loses his life. He's a part of the 1200 gang. A little over 6 hours after Antonio Tilley from 1200 gets murdered, Julio Foolio gets shot. Remember Julio Foolio, he's a part of the 6 Block. So now he gets shot. He gets shot 6 hours after Antonio Tilley. So it's like, okay, somebody just murdered Antonio Tilley. We got an idea on who did it. It's probably some Julio Foolio. So we're going to kill him. Well, they went to kill him. They shoot him up, but he didn't lose his life. He wound up getting shot, but he didn't lose his life. Okay. Yeah, just be patient with it. So after Julio Foolio gets shot, but he didn't lose his life at this time. He just got shot. He got shot in the foot. Okay. Well, you had Spinner Benz, he's a rapper. Whopper the Chopper is a rapper. Young and Ace is a rapper. They all from the ATK gang. They write a song. Okay. Now this is where the drill music comes in. Okay, the drill rap comes in. So they create a song, and the song was about the murders that they did for the 6 Block gang members. Okay, that's the song that they made. They're talking about how they murdered the 6 Block gang members. And at the end of the video, they made a reference to Tiki, who was murdered from 6 Block. So these guys, they aren't even hiding what they're doing. They're talking about it and they're bragging about it in their rap music. And all of this was used during the trial to help bring convictions on these guys. Okay. After the ATK group made their song, well, guess what Julio Foolio did? He made him a song. He makes a song and he says, "Happy birthday, 23." Well, 23 is the street name of a guy that was murdered from the other opposing gang. He also said in his song, he fell in love with dead ops. I got dead ops on my mind. That's the song that Julio Foolio made. Okay. Julio Foolio dies. Now Julio Foolio was murdered. He lost his life. And after that, the ATK gang make 2 songs 2 days after his murder. The song is called Foolio is Dead for Real. He a ghost. The next song came out 4 or 5 days after Foolio's murder. The song is called Game Over. And if in the video, there's a clip that read F the Six. Remember, Six is the gang that Julio Foolio is affiliated with. Okay. So all of these murders were premeditated. Okay. And now you have, I wrote it down here. This is what I counted. I counted 6 black boys dead, 1 shot but survived, 3 black boys and 1 girl is going to jail for this one murder that took place with Julio Foolio. Okay. So, in my opinion, it was real good to have this conversation because that's a lot of black youth that either lost their life or going to prison for something that could have been avoided. So, based on what I've shared, the timeline, and also what you guys saw on the video, I would love to get some feedback from the kids and possibly even the adults to share what their thoughts about what I talked about.
I think I think what they did, well, I don't know all the gang groups, but I think what they did was unnecessary and irresponsible because I think it was all over like nothing and foolishness, and I think it could have been solved a different way besides the way they did it. And even confessing what they did was stupid too. Either way was all not the right thing to do.
Thank you, Evan. Anyone else would like to share a comment or have a question? I do have another video, but I would love to hear first what you guys have to share about what you saw and what you heard. It's pretty disturbing, and sadly, it's very common that a lot of our blacks are losing their life. It's very, very common. They're losing their life and they're going to jail, and it's all too common. That story was one of many that you hear all the time. Some you hear about, some you don't, but this is very, very common where you have 3 to 4 people go to jail and one person lose their life, or multiple people losing their lives. And it's black youth. I'm not saying it's exclusively black youth, but it's a lot of black youth. And it's the reason why we talk so much about behavior on our calls, because it's very hard to have success in life if you have poor behavior. You have to have integrity. You have to be a person who have respect for yourself, respect for other people. And we want to have other conversations other than the conversation that we have. I would love to, but unfortunately, it's commonplace in our culture that we have violence and we have behavior issues. And I know there's a number of reasons for it, but that doesn't excuse the fact that we have to have the conversation. We have to talk about these things so that we can get better and that we can change the mindset of our people, of our youth. We can't progress the way we want to progress as a culture until we change the mindset of our youth. Because everything that I read to you and everything that we watched on that video could have been avoided. There was nothing in that video that was difficult to avoid. because just to give you a little bit more insight into how it could have been avoided, they drove 2 hours from Jackson to Florida to commit that murder. So in that 2 hour span, somebody could have said, "Nah, man, I thought about this and it ain't right. Look, let me out, pull over, let me out. I'm out of here." But somehow you have four people that agreed to carry out that murder because one girl is involved with that as well, and she's a conspiracy to the murder. She was a part of it. And if you saw toward the end of the video, that was a young guy. His name was Isaiah. I don't remember his last name, but his name was Isaiah. He never fired a shot, but he's still going to jail for first degree murder because of he was a part of it. He helped carry out the murder, so he's going to jail for life.
Yeah, a little more insight on that for you guys. None of the people that's getting so today they convicted everybody. The girl got 28 years as a co-conspirator. All the other guys will face the death penalty, but Florida jury came back and said that they all gonna go with life. The disturbing thing is none of those boys are over the age of 21. I was telling me and Byron was talking, and I was like, "Can you wrap your mind around living in a 5x9 cell at the age of 20? The average lifespan is 75 years. Could you imagine being locked up in a cell from the age of 20 till the time you die?
Mm-hmm.
That is something you got to think about.
Yeah.
There are real repercussions for your actions. And if you think about it and you get right down to the simplest thing, they fighting over a song. Would you want to spend the rest of your life in jail because somebody made a diss song about you? Would you want to spend the rest of your life in jail for taking another person's life? And when me and Byron was going through this, we went through this the whole week. If y'all go back on YouTube and kind of watch the timeline, you got a young man, what's his name, Greg? He a pretty boy.
Yeah.
He had a good upbringing, but he wanted to fit in so bad that he decided I gotta try to prove myself to these other people that's not doing nothing with their life. And then he tried to make himself be the baddest one of all of them. That all goes down, and now he's on the stand crying. And then one of his co-defendants is laughing.
Yeah.
You see all the emotions you're going through, you're trying to prove yourself to somebody, and now when it's going down, that person laughing at you saying, "Oh, look, he crying now." And now you understand crying because you don't want to die. But the alternative to him not dying, spending the next 60 some odd years in jail. There's a video circulating that the warden came on and said, "I don't want him to die. I don't want y'all to put him on death row. I want y'all to put him in there for life. We can work him in the fields from the day he get in there till the day he dies." Could you imagine? The headline underneath was modern slavery. They're gonna put him in the field. Florida got the same thing that we do, but we just call it Angola. You go work in the field for 12 hours a day for 2 cents a day. You're doing manual labor, and that's your life. The kids are never gonna eat a hamburger again. They're never gonna drive a car. They're never gonna be a parent. They're never gonna kiss a girl again. And that's their life now. That's the way you want to live the rest of your life. You got to make better decisions. And me and Byron always talking about the emotional impact on what you do. You should never get mad. Everybody gets angry. I'm not taking that away from anybody. But it's how you react when you're angry is what I'm trying to get through to y'all. You will go to jail or they will execute you for doing something stupid. And the little girl, she's gonna have to spend the rest of she's 19 years old. She's got to spend the next 25 years in jail because she was a follower. She's following these boys doing something stupid. Now she's going to jail for 25 years. You got to make better decisions. You got to make better choices. You got to decide these are not some people I want to hang around. Because the guy, he's trying to prove who he is to somebody who's less than him.
Mm-hmm.
And what did that get him? The guy that he was trying to impress laughing at him while he on the stand begging for his life.
I do have a question for the kids because I do want the kids to get involved. So I want to know, and Hunter, I would love for you to respond. Does this help you? Like these type of conversations, us highlighting these type of issues and having conversation around these issues. Does this help you? Honestly, there's no
Yeah,
wrong answer.
yeah, it helps me in some cases. Yeah.
Can you explain more on why it helps you or how it helps you?
Well, it helps me sometimes because when I'm in my right mind, I actually think about the things that I've seen and the things that we talked about people dying and stuff, and sometimes that just motivates me to not do what I know is wrong.
Okay, that's good to hear. That's good to hear.
So,
Amarian, does this help you? Oh, Mari, I'm sorry. You have something you want to share?
so obviously they had talents because they made music. So they put that energy into the wrong thing. So they could have put that energy into making better music, becoming somebody, being making money or doing something else, but they channeled it into the wrong thing.
Yeah, that's a good perspective, Mario.
Yeah, good point.
Amarian, does this help you? Seeing something like this and us having a conversation around it, does this help you?
A little bit.
Can you share how it helps you?
It helps me by knowing not to do bad stuff, and if you do bad stuff, that's what happens to you or the other person. You did something to that person.
Okay. Okay, that's good to hear. Mario, how about yourself, MJ? Does this help you? And look, I want you guys to be honest, okay? Because this is how we become better as an organization is by listening. We don't want to just talk. We want to get some feedback on how we can improve and get better. So I would love to know if this type of conversation that we're having today is it actually helpful to you?
I would say it is helpful because it helps with making decisions in life and learning that there are consequences to your actions and that you should think more clearly before you do something.
Very good. Thank you, Parker.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Mario? Does this help you?
Yes, this helped me too because like online beef and violence can affect like families and friends when they around.
Very good. Very good.
I wanted to say that this helped me because it showed you what not to do and tells you the things that you shouldn't do and the right thing that you should do. And it also shows me that you should think before you act because obviously I think the people that killed the other the four people that were killed, I think that they didn't think about what they did, and so I think that's why they're on death row right now or in jail.
Yeah.
Think before you act.
That's what I was about to say. Think before you act. That's very, very, very good, Avery, that you shared that. So look, we have a little time. This is what I'm gonna do. I want to play the video of the young guy who was a part of Julio Foolio's murder. He was one of the trigger guys. He was one that actually fired into the vehicle on Julio Foolio. I want to play his clip, and after I play it, we're going to talk about it because he shares some things in his in his commentary in court that I want to point out and highlight on today for the youth on the call. So I want you guys to pay attention, and I also want you to take notes if possible. Okay. So give me 1 second. I'm gonna share my screen. My name is Daryl. All right, here we go.
Xavier Edwards. As you
I just want to address the court today, and, you know, I'm not here to dispute anything. I'm just here to be a man and take responsibility and express my feelings about what has, you know, this whole situation. You know, that's what I plan on doing.
Okay. And how do you feel? What?
I feel very remorseful, you know. This is a terrible situation. It's been a traumatic experience. You know, to the victim's family, you know, I want to send my deepest condolences and my, you know, I understand that it's hard losing a child, a best friend, a brother, a cousin. Yeah. I just want to address the court today, and, you know, I'm not here to dispute.
You went back to the car with that.
I'm sorry, y'all. That's not the video. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry, y'all. It was it, but I don't know why it stopped. Let me see if I can do it again. I don't know why it stopped.
Edwards. As you went back to the car with that. Xavier Edwards. 25C, Gino Norris. And you saw the autopsy photos of Charles Jones. My question to you is, after you and your friends inflicted that carnage on June 23rd, and as you were running states 2059C, this is actually you running to shoot them, but when you were running back past that Tesla, were you feeling a lot of trauma at that point?
It was so long ago, I try to not remember anything from that night.
Were you remorseful as you were running back with that AR-15 in your hands?
Like I said, I try to remember nothing from that night.
Was it traumatic to you as you went back to the car with that AR-15? Was it still smoking? Was it still warm in your hands from firing it? Xavier Edwards. AR-15, was it still smoking? Was it still warm in your hands from firing it?
Sustain the objection.
Were you feeling remorse as you were getting back into the Impala?
Like I said, I just try to focus on today and moving forward.
So the next day, that Impala, that was your car. You drove that around, right? It was your mom's, but you drove that car, correct?
Yes, sir. It was my mother's car.
Right. And that was the car you drove from Jacksonville to Tampa in, correct?
I'm going to object beyond stuff.
I'm working to a point, Your Honor.
Okay, why don't we just get there?
All right. So this car, this Impala that you drove from Jacksonville to Tampa in with Mr. Chance and Miss Andrews, the one that you drove in tandem with the Silver Cruise, the same car that you utilized to drive the as you went back to the car with that.
All right, y'all. So due to the sake of time, I'm gonna stop the video. It's 7 o'clock now, but I do have a few highlights of some of the things he shared toward the end of his commentary.
But before you get to your commentary, I'd like to hear from the kids so far. Like, what are your thoughts?
Um, like I said that how the kids weren't thinking, well, young adults weren't thinking of like they weren't thinking before they act. That I think that's proof of how how the kids, the um young children weren't listening and they weren't thinking. And I think that, yeah, that's all I had to say pretty much was they didn't think before they acted. And I think that's sad that they had to go through that as a young child because I wouldn't want to go through that or even think about it. Like he said, he was trying to forget about the moment.
Mhm.
Anyone else?
MJ, Amarian, Hunter. Okay, I just wanted to give people an opportunity to share their thoughts.
Yeah, a lot of Black youth were affected in this one incident with Julio Foolio, but a lot more were affected due to the back and forth gang violence between these two gangs here. A lot of people have lost their lives, and a lot of people were seriously injured as a result of this back and forth between our Black youth. That guy who was just on the stand is 20 years old. He was fighting for his life because they was arguing for the death penalty. Well, he wound up getting life in prison at 20 years old. So here's something I want to share. And after I share this, I'm gonna get into some of the things that I'll tell you what. I'll talk about what he talked about first, and then I'll tell you my thoughts. Okay. He was on the witness stand testifying. One of the things he said was is that he's remorseful for what took place. He's remorseful for the role that he played in taking Julio Foolio's life. Okay. He spoke that directly to the family. He says that he's sorry for what he did. He can only imagine how difficult it is for a family member to lose a child in that way. So he expressed remorse. Okay. He said it was a terrible situation. The act that took place, he admits that it was a terrible situation. And he also offered condolences to Julio Foolio's family. I shared that because, to Avery's point, a lot of young people don't think before they act. They made this decision, and it was a conscious decision because, as I stated earlier, they drove 2 hours to commit this murder. They drove from Jackson, Mississippi to Florida to commit this murder. Julio Foolio, from what I understand, he had a show in Florida, and they had a lookout that was following him everywhere he went and providing feedback to them so they knew where he was. And plus, he also had his location. He was saying where he was on his phone. He was saying, "Hey, I'm located here," showing his location so they know where he was. So they drove 2 hours to commit this murder. So they had plenty of time to think, which lead me to my thought. Okay. And here is my thought. I wrote this down early. Our goal at Impact 365 with the youth who are part of Impact 365, this is our goal. Our goal is not to try to avoid getting caught. Our goal is to do the right thing. if you are doing the right thing, you don't have to worry about getting caught. Now, why do I say that? Because those guys who murdered Julio Foolio, they thought they had the perfect cover. Let me tell you what they did. Okay, I took notes on all this. I prepared for this. Let me tell you what they did. They wiped down the vehicle after the murder. They used brass catchers, and the brass catchers, that's when every time you fire a weapon, the casings are get caught in this catcher. That way they don't fall on the ground. Because what happens is when the bullets falls on the ground, the detectives, they pick those up and they match it to the scene, right? Well, they had brass catchers, so there was no bullets at the scene. They travel across state lines, did all that, and they still got caught. So they thought they had the perfect cover, but that cover didn't work. They were still caught because there was other technology that traced them from the moment they left the house all the way to Florida. They got license plate readers. They got all that stuff that tracked them from the moment they left all the way to Florida. And that led me to my thought that it's not our goal to try not to get caught. That's not our goal. It's not our goal to hide. Our goal is to do the right thing. And I want to encourage all of you on the call to do the right thing. You know, if you're involved in something that you know not right, separate yourself. And we are here to encourage you. We're here to inspire you. We're here to listen to you. We're here to love you so that you can be all that you need to be. Earlier in the call, we highlighted the success of the students this year. We want to highlight you. We want you to be on our webpage so that we can honor you, so that we can motivate you and inspire you. That's what we're here for. We're here to love you, and we're here to help you get where it is you're trying to go in life. And we're going to continue sowing in your life so that you can be someone who is looked up to in the future. Any questions, any comments before we close? From anyone? Any questions, any comments? All right, if there's no questions or comments, as always, I want to thank everyone for being on the call. Thank you for participating in this conversation because it's an important conversation. And we do believe that we are changing the hearts and the minds of our youth. And if you can change the hearts and the minds of the youth, we can change our community and we can change our world. And that's our goal. Our goal is to change our surroundings and what we see every day. There's a lot of negativity, but we want our kids to rise above the negativity. We want our kids to be kids of integrity. And I strongly believe that you will be. You guys have good parents. You are getting good seeds sown into you week after week. And I believe a harvest is going to come forward from these seeds. So once again, I thank you so much for being on the call, and I appreciate you. Brother Alex, I see you got your hand up. You have to be very, very brief. What you got before we close?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to say, like an example of somebody who took the other route. The older generation might know Wallow 227, him and Gillis. His older brother, I believe, was murdered, and he took the other route of not, retaliating and choosing to provide for the people that's still in his life. You know what I mean? And from the outside looking in, his life seems to be flourishing and to be abundant. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to give an example of the other route taken in that opportunity in that situation. It's positive life.
That's good. Good, Alice. Thank you, man. Thank you for sharing. All right. So it's after the hour. Anitra, if you don't mind, can you close us out with a prayer tonight?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Our Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for another opportunity to call upon your name.
Thank you, Jesus.
We thank you for waking us up this morning. We thank you for your protection, your provision, and your peace of mind. Lord, we thank you for another opportunity to fellowship with other people, other like-minded people, Father God. We thank you for our children. We thank you for the gift of parenthood. Thank you for your Holy Spirit teaching us how to be the parents that our children need us to be to them and for them. Thank you for giving us the vision and the provision for Impact 365. We thank you for every family that's represented on the call tonight and those that were not able to join but are here in spirit. And we thank you for a great weekend. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Love y'all. See y'all on the next one.
Good night.